we're going to try this again. Audio was absolutely horrid. So. Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to try this again. The first time I recorded everything, audio was absolutely atrocious. So, we're trying it again. Hopefully, the audio is slightly better. Alright, so what are we going to discuss today? Today, we're going to discuss preparedness and things you should be doing. By no means am I an expert. I am definitely an amateur when it comes to this. I know people that are way more prepared than I am. But I'm just going to give you some basics where I started, some of the things I do. And the reason I'm bringing it up is a couple of weeks ago, could be a month ago or so, put up a poll, like, what do you guys want to see? And in the poll was, hey, food stores for your home. And a few of you were interested. So here's the video for that. It really came up mainly because you might hear murmuring and some chatter that lockdowns may be coming back for Cooties 2.0. I know they've been talking about climate change lockdowns. You know, it is what it is. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with an election coming up and locking everybody into their homes like they did last time. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with that. But we do know from the past that when that did happen, there were massive shortages of a lot of things. Mainly toilet paper, which is the weirdest thing. However, I didn't have a problem with it because I had a wall of toilet paper pretty much. And, you know, prior to COVID, preppers were always laughed at as paranoid and stuff like that. And turns out they were right. You should be doing this. So, some basics, all right? Where did I start? Where am I today? All right, so simple basic. It's simple. When you go grocery shopping, pick up some extra canned foods. It could be simple cans like the condensed soup. Basically, you just add water. Or it could be things like tuna fish, things like that. I know some people aren't big into it, but canned foods, they last a while. The expiration dates are sell-by dates, okay? As long as the seal is good and the can itself on the bottom, there's no bulging, the contents should be fine. Obviously, if you open it up and it stinks, well, there you go. For me, and what we do in this house, is since these do have expiration dates, is when we buy things like this, the nice thing is the grocery stores around here, some of them do, it's called a can sale. And you can buy a bunch of canned foods in bulk. So, to make life a little easier, what we do is when we buy these in bulk, we go through, and you can see there's a 9 on here. And these are categorized by expiration dates. Okay, starting with the year and then to the month. So, the shelving units, each shelf represents 1 year. They're labeled like 2022, 2023. And then there's 12 subsections to it for 12 months. So I know that next month of this year, this soup is going to have its sale-by date. So sometimes, you know, I don't feel like making dinner, or my wife doesn't feel like making dinner. We're wanting to be so-called lazy about it. Or you just want a quick snack or whatever. We just grab one of these, right? Because we're always first in, last out type thing. So we'll just go down to the shelf, we'll grab whatever is due, and we utilize that, right? Or if maybe it was something from last month, we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll eat that. So sometimes beggars can't be choosers. You can't be like, I really don't like it. I'm not. If you're hungry, just eat it. So we try to buy things that everybody's going to enjoy eating, and it's not sitting there like, oh, I have nothing else, I'll eat that. It's stuff that we're going to look forward to. All right, so simple canned foods. It's great. Other things that you can add to your little stash in the beginning is honey. All right, now yes, it's going to have an expiration date, but technically, honey never goes bad. As long as it is the raw, unfiltered honey from bees and not the honey from clover, which is what you usually find in a grocery store for baking. The clover honey does expire and goes bad. The raw honey does have an expiration date, like I said, but technically it's not going to go bad. If you do your research, you know that archaeologists have found Copic jars in Egypt that have been buried for thousands of years containing raw, unfiltered honey, and it's still edible. It's the only food that will last forever. There's no known expiration date. Now, it will break down and crystallize, but it's easy to reconstitute it back to its original form by putting it in warm water, right? You're basically going to boil it down and reliquefy everything. So there you go. Honey is a great staple to have, a little boost of energy. We maintain a bunch of bottles, so on and so forth, right? The next thing that I like to do, and my wife likes to do, is we buy certain things in bulk, certain staples. These are the dry ingredients that you can basically make almost anything with. It's going to be like flour, sugar, salt, and everybody's favorite, rice. Now, we don't keep it in the original packaging because like rice comes in these big like 10-pound, 5-pound bags, and they can easily get damaged and then leak everywhere. Critters can get into them. You don't want that. So we get these off of Amazon. Now, I label them myself with a vinyl cutter, but we basically get 5-gallon buckets that are food grade from Amazon, and then we just transfer the dry goods into that. Now, they're labeled, obviously you saw on the outside, and then we usually put a piece of tape on the outside denoting when we filled it, so on and so forth. Now, this isn't stagnant. It's not just, that's it. We built them and they stay there. No, these are actually constantly in use. So you have your little containers of sugar and flour and everything else for your baking needs and cooking, things like that. And as you deplete those, we just remove flour or sugar from these barrels. And then as we deplete the food grade 5-gallon bucket, we just go out and we buy more. And then we replenish it. Okay? Again, it's going to be first in, last out. So we use up all the flour out of one bucket, clean the bucket out, fill it with new flour, redate everything, and that's going to go to the far back, and then we're moving the older flour back up front. And when we originally started doing this, my wife swore up and down, we would never go through these buckets of flour and sugar and all that. We're, I think, on our 3rd or 4th time refilling all of our buckets. So, yes, if you do a lot of home cooking, you're going to go through them. Now, to help preserve everything, because these dry goods, you know, if they're not stored properly, they're going to go rancid. They're going to go bad. You can get food grade, like desiccant packets that are going to absorb moisture and eat up the oxygen. When it comes to the rice, I just dump a bunch of those in there, takes care of it. Once I seal it up, boom, we're done. When it comes to the flour, the sugar, and things that are really small, I don't want to bury those packets. So what I do is I just tape them to the lid, and then when I put the lid on, there you go. They're in there, and they're not directly touching your food, so that's an option. They are reusable, and again, they are food grade. So when you open up the container and you're using them, you've emptied it out, it's time to refill it, all those little packets will come off, and all you got to do is put them on a bake sheet, you put them in the oven, certain temperature for a certain duration of time, they dry them back out, reattach them, seal it all back up, and you're good to go. Pretty simple. Okay, so that's how you're just basically going to do it on your own without spending a ton of money, just because sometimes money is tight. Now, going up a level from there. So this is just normal stuff you would buy. I have these in our vehicles. We have a bunch of these bags floating around the house. They are in backpacks, things like that, and they are just simple 72-hour survival food kits. These happen to be from 4 Patriots, not a paid sponsor. I've bought these, but they've also come with, when we bought bigger ones, these have come for free, as in like a bonus. So why not put these in backpacks, things like that. They're freeze-dried food. So the last forever all I have to do is add water. So I keep them in the cars. That's it. Obviously, my car, I'll just have one. But if we're doing a family trip, I'm going to add a bunch of them 3 days, right? And we've all seen the movies and heard stories of, people are trapped on the highway in a blizzard, and they've got no food, and all that stuff, and they're starving, right? This, a little sterno, and you're going to be good to go. You can basically cook food, right? Add the water, boom, and you're done. That's great. That's freeze-dried. That, shelf life, about 25 years. So, it's worth it. Like I said, I've got a bunch of them. Next thing I like to have, and you're going to recognize this, because it was in the red backpack that we reviewed. Let me grab the box. This, again, is from 4 Patriots. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. Everything you see is bought and paid for out of my pocket. You're going to get a little box like this, okay? This box represents enough emergency rations for one person for 30 days. Okay, and I've got a bunch of these because you can't buy this like, oh, I'm good. Yeah, if you live alone, this is perfect for you. But if you have a family, you need to, if it's you and your spouse, you need to double everything. You got kids, you're going to have to triple, quadruple things. You got dogs, you're going to have to, get emergency stores for them. One dog, that's great. 2, 3 dogs, you have to triple everything. So keep that in mind. You can't be a one and done type person. So inside these cardboard boxes are emergency food bars. Okay? So these emergency food bars look like giant sugar cookies. They are rock hard. So hopefully you don't break a tooth. I mean, when you squeeze them, they are soft, but they're rock hard. This right here is 3 days worth of food. So when you look on the back side, you're going to see that you got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's day 1, day 2, and day 3. What's inside the box? This box holds 10. So that is technically 30 days of emergency food. Now, I'm sure it's full of salt and other things. It's not going to be the healthiest for you, but you're going to survive. And that's really all that matters. So, I got boxes like this. One for, well, we have more than one, but we have enough for each person, right? So, I think I've got, I'm not going to tell you how many boxes I have, but tons of these boxes. But there's enough to feed a family of 4. Now, some of the bricks in here, this one is open. Some of the bricks on this one I've removed, and we've shipped them off to my daughter. She's in college because she has a go bag in her dorm. It's stashed away, so if something goes wrong and she needs to walk away from the dorm, away from campus, to get to friends or military family, things like that, all she has to do is pull that bag out and walk out the door, and she's good. She's got these other things in there. She's got some of these. She's got some of the emergency waters, things like that. All right. She's far from home, so we wanted to make sure she was ready to go and walk out. Especially since where she is, there's a lot of wildfires, and if you have to evacuate, sometimes you don't have time to pack and you gotta go, so at least she has something and she can survive for a couple of weeks, basically just off this backpack. All right? Now, moving from there. Not everybody's going to want to live off these emergency bars. I've never eaten one. I may have to try one at some point, but they are not probably the most delicious. So, what else do we have? Okay, so we saw the 72-hour packs, the emergency bars, which will last a month. All right, but there's got to be something better. Okay, because those emergency bars only last for 5 years. That's their storage life. And that's it. And I hope to God I never have to use them. But they're only good for 5 years. But I want something that's going to last a lot longer. Well, you can buy food for emergency stores that has a 25-year shelf life, which means you can just buy it and forget about it. Now, if you're my age, the way I look at it, I'll be in my late 70s before they expire. So, there you go. That's how I looked at it. I was like, well, it's an investment. You know what? If I die and they're still good, I guess my kids can have them. But I'm going to readjust the camera. I'm going to show you exactly what they are. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. It comes in a Sterilite container when you order it from the company. This right here is 1 month for one person. But it does have a 25-year shelf life. And just in case you guys are wondering what this is, because I know some of you are going to be staring at it, yes, it does say rocket ammunition with explosive projectiles, and we'll talk about that at another time. We're talking about this right now. So, when you open this up, all right, what is it? Well, it's just freeze-dried foods. Okay, so this is like potato soup, freeze-dried. Right, so it's got the instructions on the back, add water, boil, and it's a hot meal. They've got Traveler's Stew. It's not just like stuff like that. Chocolate pudding. Okay. Oatmeal. If you're not a big oatmeal person, when you get hungry enough, you'll eat it. Right here is black bean and rice soup. All right, again, instructions are on the back. This is all freeze-dried, ready to go. Again, though, this is it. All this is for one person. So if you're like, well, I'll just buy one. Okay, well, this will feed a family of 4 for a week. Now, if you ration it out, you might be able to get more. But I don't want to have to ration that much. So we just bought a bunch of these. All right? And this is the one that actually sits on the top. You can see some dust and junk on there. All right? And it just comes in these handy dandy little containers. Now they are heavy. All right? But you can see right here that it's only a 4-week supply. For one person. All right? So, you got more than just you, you're going to need multiple ones. Alright, so I know it's not a glorified video of shooting and gun reviews and all that, but this stuff is going to keep you alive. This is more of a bug-in setup. And it helps to, if you have community. Alright? Outside of stocking up on food stores like this, learn how to can, learn how to garden. We do have heirloom seeds. This stuff is designed to feed you today, right now. If all you do is buy a bunch of seed packets, heirloom seeds, which you can buy those online, bro, you got to grow those. All right, you need food today to sustain you today, not a month or 2 or 3 or 4 from now. Today, that's what this stuff is for. All right, you're not going to bug out with all this stuff trying to load up your vehicle with those big totes, the big food buckets and all that. Forget about it. This is all designed for bugging in. All right, to take a page out of the Mormon religion and have yourself some stores. That's what really got my mind working on it. Years ago, some of our family friends, they're Mormon, and their pantry was to die for. The preparedness that they had made me feel so unprepared. I never wanted to feel that way again. So we started stocking up on things, just because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. All right? Now, everyone's like, oh, we worried about zombies. Listen, this is just to stave off whatever. Could be a tornado. It could be a hurricane, a blizzard. It could be you lose your job and you need to get food to you and your family. You've got backup. You got emergency stores, all right? Especially if all your money that you do have is allotted for your mortgage and electricity. And listen, at least you've got food. It's an emergency, and you utilize it, right? And you never know. I mean, the town you might live in might just explode in flames, where cars are melting and all kinds of weird things are going on, where the roads are blocked and you can't get out, and everything around you is on fire. I don't know where that would be, but that would really suck to happen. Having emergency stores, smart idea. Okay? Now, when it comes to the storage, try and store it smartly, right? Don't just buy a bunch of it and throw it down in your basement. Your basements are generally kind of nasty. They're dark, really humid. Mine, climate controlled. I have heating, cooling. I have it dehumidified. So yeah, for me, storing it, and it's okay. Outside of bulking up on food, you're going to want to bulk up on ammunition, because no point in having all this food without something to defend it with, all right? And no, you can't do it alone. This is where community comes in. You're going to need community over everything else, because you could have everything stored up. And if you go at it alone, you try to do it on your own, well, I hate to tell you this, but you basically just stored a bunch of stuff for a group of bandits that are just going to come take it from you. You're not going to be able to fight them off. So, if the zombie apocalypse were to happen tomorrow, economic collapse, EMP takes out the power grid, whatever scenario you want to throw at me, community's going to win. Okay, so if you and all of your friends do all of this, then if that day comes, they all rally, or you guys all rally on a specific location, and that's the spot you're going to hold. So, all my friends do this, we all rally in our special location, and now everybody's got enough food to share with the group, but it'll cover your family also. So, take it with a grain of salt, okay? Don't be dumb about it. Do what you need to do. Because if you think it's going to get any better, you're fooling yourself. You're lying to yourself. It's only going to get worse. And I'm not even going to bring it like, oh, Civil War, this or that. You never know what tomorrow brings. Cover. Just hedge your bets. All right? Just cover your ass. It's that simple. But make sure you have enough for you and your entire family that live with you. Don't just buy one or two of these totes and be like, oh, I'm good. That is not going to last you. You need to make sure you have enough stuff for everybody. You, your spouse, children, and pets. Make sure you have enough, all right? It does get expensive. Hence why we talked about the cans, honey, storing the dry goods, and then working up from there to getting the prepackaged stuff. But you can always make your own stuff if you're into that. I mean, you can make pimmick. I would not recommend eating it, but hey, if you're starving, you'll eat anything. That is some rancid stuff. But if I'm starving and the world's ending, I'll eat it with a smile on my face. All right. Let me know down in the comments if I missed anything. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe talk about what you do and your family does to prepare for what's going to come tomorrow. Best way to support the channel is buy merch. Obviously, like, subscribe, share the content. I'm always down in the comments trying to give feedback while I can. And go purchase some merch and help support the channel. All right? Links for Patreon, locals, all that good stuff. And links for everything that you pretty much I showed you with with the 4 Patriots and all that, all down below. Remember, I don't get anything out of it. It's just me trying to spread the word. All right, I'm a nobody, just trying to help out somebody. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a great day.